What's happening? What's happening? We're gonna start this thing at 9:05, y'all. Get in the room. Get in the room. Pen and paper. Tap in. Tap in. We're gonna start the class here shortly. 9:05 EST. Got a little disclaimer I'm gonna read. It's called the ground rules, right? I'm gonna read it often throughout the live the way we understand what's going on. Participation is encouraged. Disclosure is always voluntary. Do not diagnose yourself or other participants. Do not turn the room into a blame session. Please speak from your own experience. Respect confidentiality. If a topic feels overwhelming, pause and seek appropriate professional support. Okay? All right? Go ahead and come on in the room. Come on in the room. We're going to make it do what it do. Today is a special day. A special day. We are going to do the evaluation of self. This is going to be a 6-week course. So if you miss a week, you can catch up next week. Again, it's a 6-week course. I'm doing off the Tanakh. I don't need a subscription. I don't need none of that. You see what I'm saying? I'm just going to deliver the message and we're going to get it in. You understand? Again, we're going to start class at 9:05 EST. You see what I'm saying? We're going to run it like that. We're going to run it like that. What up, what up, what up? We're going to start class in 1 minute. Y'all. This course is going to teach participants how to pause, look inward, elevate their patterns and choices honestly, and convert self-awareness into healthier decisions, relationships, growth, and impact. Look, y'all, Mr. Tap In is tapped in now. He gonna start teaching too now, because I understand that's part of my mission, part of my purpose. I've been doing this freelance for about 12 years, y'all. And now I'm bringing my talent to TikTok. You see what I'm saying? So I have a select few that, run with me, understand what I'm about, what I do, how I maneuver, so on and so forth. You feel me? And so within that, I like to commend them for sticking with me over this journey. You understand? Because a lot of people, they fail to realize, who they are. How long, sis? How long? How long? I'm teaching. We teaching. I can. I will. Yes, ma'am. I coming right up. Coming right up. So welcome to the evaluation of self, y'all. Today, it's not about proving that you're good enough. It's about becoming honest enough to understand yourself. You feel me? We spent a lot of time evaluating situations, evaluating jobs, evaluating relationships, and other people. We've been guilty of this, y'all. I'm here. I'm here. But the question is, when was the last time you sat down and evaluated the person making all those decisions, which is you? Today, we turn the mirror inward. Inward. We turning the mirror inward. I got my teammate tonight, y'all. I got my teammate. She gonna help me help y'all tap in, tap in, tap in. Come on, y'all. You see what I'm saying? We teaching tonight. We teaching tonight. So we're gonna move on. Step 2. This is gonna be the 6-stage teaching model, y'all. The 6-stage teaching model. Number 1. Hello. Let me teach for a minute. You just listen as well. Take it in. Cause it's gonna make you way better once you get my age, sis. You're gonna be something serious. Just understand that. Understand that. I love you too. So look, y'all, number 1 is awareness. Okay? Understand who you are before trying to change who you are. I'll say that again, y'all. The number 1 out of the 6-stage teaching model of looking inward, right? Right? Is awareness, understanding who you are before trying to change who you are. That's powerful, y'all. That's powerful. That's very, very powerful. So during this course, y'all, I'm going to invite y'all to get a pen and pad out, get your phone out, notes, whatever it is, whatever you got to do to remember and understand how to be. You understand? So I want to invite you guys to voluntarily share it. Tear the chat up. Let me understand. I will stop and I will pertain to what's going on. What up? What up? Come on in the room. Invite a friend. Tell a friend. We're gonna get some good stuff in tonight, y'all. So I'm not gonna force anybody to disclose anything. You openly share what you want to share with me, and I will attempt to give you my best to be able to give you direction, correction. You understand? So, if you guys got a piece of paper, I need you guys to write this down, okay? Write this down, y'all. Who am I when nobody is watching? My bad, Moonlight. I might have hit the wrong button or something. I'm a do it like this. Thank you for coming in. We go hold on. Let's see something real quick. We gon' come on, phone. We're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna teach through it. We're gonna teach through it. This is what this is all about. This is for me to understand how to be, right? Awareness, right? So right now in the moment, right, you're getting to see, right? Everything is taking its own mind, right? Doing its own thing. And I'm still gonna teach, right? If you got a pen and paper, write down who am I when nobody is watching, okay? Who am I when nobody is watching? Okay? All right? Write that down for me. Who am I when nobody is watching? Okay? Who am I when nobody is watching? Right? Hold on, we're gonna get it right. We're gonna get it right. Okay? Keep that to yourself, right? The next question is, what role do I play and which are actually me? I'll say it again. Which role do you play, right? Which role do you play? And this is talking about you in your own situation, right? Which role do you play, right? And which one is actually you? Okay? Because right now I'm doing a couple of roles. I'm teaching and I'm having to be daddy, right? I'm capable of doing all these things, right? Right? At one time, right? Yes, ma'am.
Where's the jump rope?
The jump rope is possibly, I'm not sure.
Is that bigger?
Maybe. I'll look in a second, okay?
Reach up there.
Uh, 1 second. Okay, so look, next question is, what are my values? Okay? What are your values? Okay? Okay? I'm teaching here, y'all. I'm teaching here tonight. What are my strengths? Right? What's your strengths? Right? What's your weaknesses? Right? Write these things down, right? Because this is going to be for you to be able to evaluate yourself so that you can understand what you need to do to navigate self along this journey, right? Because right now we've just been bumping our heads, right? Right. We've been bumping our heads, right? Thank you for that. Right. Okay, next, what patterns keep showing up? What patterns keep showing up? So you guys got all these written down, right? I'm gonna go back over. Number one, who am I when nobody is watching? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Who am I when nobody is watching? Okay. And then we're going to say, what roles do I play? Right? Do you play? Right? And which ones is actually you? Okay. Come on, sis. You got to go here, sis. You got to go here, sis. Okay. What are my values? Okay. What are my values? Right? Right. What are my strengths? Okay. What patterns keep showing up? So if you guys got these written down, now take a moment, right, to really deep in, look in to yourself and answer these honestly, right, for yourself, right? It's not for me. This is for you, right? I'm giving me to you tonight, right? Because I love you. I love me. I want you to love you a little bit more. I want me to love me a little bit more as well. You understand? So we're going to say this is the 6-stage teaching model, y'all. Okay. Number one is awareness. Understand who you are before trying to change who you are, right? So then we got these questions, right, that we're asking ourselves, right? Right? So I'm going to start with myself, right? Who am I when nobody is watching? Harlow is saying her father. So that's not only not me answering that, but that's somebody outside of me that looks at me as whatever she says to me, right? So that I understand that that's a role that I choose to play, right? Because there was a time when I didn't choose to play this role the way that I choose to today. I choose to do this, y'all. It's a choice. It's not something that I was shown. Well, I've seen it done many different ways. I'm gonna say that, and I've taken the things that I've seen, right, and I put it all in a jumbo pot, right, and I stir it up, right. And this is who you see today, right? In this moment, right now, right? You see a person who is not afraid of himself, right? Who is not afraid of no one else, right? Why? Because I understand who I am and I understand who you are. You just ain't caught up just yet. You understand? So it's my job, it's my goal to at least get one person to understand who they is, right? And if I can get one, I know I can get two. And if I get 2, I know I can get 1,000. You understand? Because I understand how this thing works, right? I got many people that can give testimony. I can bring them up in the chat on the panel. Like I said, I've been doing this freelance job for 12 years, right? Right? To where I've been this motivational type, leadership type person, individual that can understand not only his own fault, right? And everywhere where he took the wrong step, I understand that, y'all. Every bit of the way, right? I'm not ashamed. I'm not afraid. I'm not none of that, y'all. You know why? Because I understand I've detached from myself from those words, right? Right? Because I am. You understand? And so that I am, right? Now I'm coming to you, right? As I am, right? Right? Because I love me enough to be able to put a time in my life where I say, you know what? I'm going to give myself to the world right now. And whatever happens, happens, right? Because I understand it's always been up to you. Just as it's always been up to me. You understand? So that's what I'm here to do, right? So I observe a lot, right? Right? And I observe to where I understand what I'm looking at. You feel me? Because I always ask Source, show me why. Tell me why. Right? Harlow, come on, sis. Over here, please. Please, please, please. We're going to keep it running, right? Awareness, right? Being, understanding, right? Understanding who you are, right? Understanding who you are, right? Before trying to change who you are. I'll say it again. Understand who you are before trying to change who you are, okay? I answered the question, who am I when nobody's watching? Harlow said, I'm a father. I'll say, I'm a person that chooses to do what I know is right in the moment, right? And if it doesn't be looked at or perceived from others as what I'm intending for it to be, I understand that's just their misunderstanding of what my intentions was and my energy lied. You understand? Because most people are going to look at you and they're going to want to receive something negative. You understand? They just automatically, because that's how things are set up. Because when you consume all these things daily, right? How can you then be someone positive when you just consume 8 hours of negativity, right? Unless you're aware of what you're receiving. So then you transmute that negative energy, right? Whenever it's come at you, because you understand what it is, right? Because if you're balanced and you're walking the way you're supposed to be, right? You're going to always understand what's on the other side of you, because you understand everything you encounter is your mirror. Right. So once you truly understand you and your mirror, right, what you looking at, right, then you start to understand everything. So what roles do I play, right? The role I play is a person who loves himself enough to give himself up to the world, right, as a sacrificial lamb to say, use me in the way that you need to, so that the people of the world can understand who they are. You understand? So that's why I'm on TikTok, y'all. You understand? It's to tell you, right? It's to guide you, right? Back to you. All right? It's not hard. It's simple. You got to just sit down for 5 minutes a day, right? And look at yourself and ask yourself, why? Huh? Why did I do this when I probably should have did that? You understand? Why did I say this when I probably could have said that, right? I probably could have used this tone earlier and I chose not to. I don't understand why I let that bother me to get outside of myself. You understand? So once you understand who you actually are, right? Is that actually me, right? Then you start to understand where it's coming from, right? I'll give you an example, right? Where did tap in come from, y'all? We've heard this a lot of times when we traveling, right? And I'm affiliated with some bike clubs, right? So whenever we traveling and stuff like that, right, amongst each other, when we get somewhere, whatever, we say, hey, tap in, right? call me, bro. Let me know you in town so we can get together, do something, plan something, whatever, right? So I kind of have taken that model, right, of being able to, when I fly out of town or drive out of town to wherever I go, right, that I now tap in with the city in which I'm going, right? To let a brother know, let a sister know, hey, I'm coming that direction. So just in case something don't go right, right? Or just in case everything does go right, there's a possibility, right, that we can link up, right? Right? That's what that's for. That's what that's meant for, some like security, right? Insurance, right? Also awareness, because you may not be aware of something that's there when you get there, right? There may be a whole issue in the neighborhood you're going to. You have no clue, right? But since you have, well, because you have now someone in the area, right? Now you are aware of what's going on, because what they're going to do, they're going to tell you, or they supposed to tell you. You understand? So this is where we at with this, y'all. Awareness, right? So what's next on the list, y'all? What's next? It says, what are my values, right? I feel like my value is that I choose to be this way because it was a time in my life when I didn't. It was a time in my life when I made an excuse for everything that happened around me. And I never looked at myself to understand what could I have been doing to cause whatever this was, right? I never stopped myself to think about it. I just kept on going day by day, getting up, going to work, right? Getting up, going to work, right? Getting up, going to work, right? There's a routine. Right? I never had time. I never thought of that instead of playing Xbox for 3 hours, or instead of playing Coin Master for 3 hours, or Candy Crush, or whatever we was playing at the time, Monopoly, right? Give up, if you're going to do it for an hour, give up 30 minutes to yourself, right? And do 30 minutes of something else, right? At least balance it out, right? At least give yourself a chance, right? Understanding that you still got to get up to tomorrow, the next day, and do it again, right? And then get up the next day and do it again, right? If it's written that you be able to do that, you understand? We taking this stuff too granted. You see what I'm saying? I got the granted right here on the thing. Why we taking it for granted? You understand? That's why I feel like they put granted in the household, because it's things in your life that you taking for granted. I'll let that sit there for a second. I'm getting your tea ready. The water just cooling now. I can't give you the hot water. It's boiling, but I got to get the water warm enough to get the tea where it can say, voila. You understand? Today, we was in the grocery store, y'all, and she know I drink tea. I don't do the coffee. So she was looking, and we had just got back from a space, and she seen the little character on the box. She was like, oh, my goodness, can I have some tea like you, Daddy? And I was like, oh, man, that's kind of dope. So, like, the flavor was called Cherry Berry, right? I had a glass earlier. I had to try it out before I get to it, right? Make sure it's cool enough. Hold on, sis. So, look, it's let me put it up here on the screen. Cherry, there it is. Cherry Berry, Yogi Maker. You understand? So she already tapped in. She already on the Yogi tea, right? I'm gonna have this thing just follow me around while I do the chore that I'm doing, right? Because we tapped in, y'all. You understand? Sis, you telling them what you got? Cherry Berry. Okay. So look. Hold on, let me get your cut ready. Let me get your cut ready. Hold on. What are my strengths? You're looking at it right now. I'm able to still teach, right? And play another role, right? And play another role, right? Right? I'm capable, right? So are you. I'm not no better than you, right? The only advantage I have right now is I've been a little tapped into myself based upon the life that I chose to live. This is why you see in this version of me now, right? Because I finally said, you know what? Enough is enough, right? With everything and everyone. Yes, honey.
Did mommy drink wine?
I don't know nothing about that. Don't do that. Come on now. See, now you doing something that's, I don't understand what's going on here. We're going to have you come over here in the kiddie section. We're going to have you come over here in the kiddie section. Hey, y'all, what are my strengths, right? Again, you getting to see them on the fly, right? I'm able to show, right? Action, right? I'm not just about talking, right? I'm about showing, right? What up? What up? Come on in the room. Come on. What patterns keep showing up? Okay. For me, I have a few, right? The things that show up in my life is people that like to use their tongue, right? To spread things that may or may not be true. We call them liars, right? Right? What up? What up? That's generally what I'm dealing with. And I understand why, because a lot of times before this moment, right? I used to use my tongue either for me or against me. You understand? And so by me understanding that understands the slit in my tongue, right? Sometimes my tongue is good, right? Sometimes my tongue is bad, right? And so I didn't understand that in my 20s, y'all. You understand? I did, but I didn't. In my 30s, I understood it a little more, and I then began to use my tongue differently than I did in my 20s, right? Yes, honey.
I'm bored.
Understand? Your tea's are almost ready, okay? It takes about 6-7 minutes for it to brew. All right. All right. So look, what patterns you see? All kind of things show up, right? You have to just be ready, right? For whatever, right? You have to be ready for whatever. And if not, then what happens? Huh? What happens if you're not ready for whatever is in store? You're gonna feel like you missed out on something, right? And that may be true, right?
Oh,
That may be true. That may be true. That may be true. It just depends on who you think you are in that moment, right? Huh? Huh? That's what it is. Number one is being aware, awareness. Okay. Number two, what up, what up, what up? Number two is reflection, y'all. Look backward without living backwards, right? I say it again. You can look backwards without living backwards, okay? All right? That's what you can do, right? It's just moments, right? You look back, you get stuck, right? Thank you for that. You get stuck, right? And you then don't want to move forward. Okay? So again, we're gonna say it like this, y'all. Reflection is number two on the list, right? Number one was awareness. Number two is reflection. Look backward without living backwards, y'all. I hope y'all writing this stuff down, y'all. That's some good stuff, y'all. Okay. So get your pen and paper back out, y'all. We got some more questions for reflection, right? We got some homework to do on ourselves, y'all. Hope you got time for yourself tonight. You understand? It ain't for me, it's for you. You understand? So write down for me, y'all. What experiences shaped me? Okay. 4 words. What experiences shaped me? Okay. I'm gonna run through them, let you write them down. I'm gonna come back, give you mine, right? And then you ain't gotta give me yours if you want, unless you want to, right? Reflection, looking backwards without living backwards. Okay. Looking backwards without living backwards. Okay, y'all. And so a drop down question from reflection is going to be, what experiences shaped me? Right? What am I proud of? What hurt me? What did I learn? What do I need to release? Okay, I'm gonna run through them again. I know it's a lot. Hey, look, if you got time for yourself tonight, you got time for all kind of stuff, right? What experiences shape me? Okay. What am I proud of? What hurt me? What did I learn? What do I need to release? Now, as you can see, none of this is about your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your sister, your mama, none of this is about you, right? Yeah, right? I, right? That's what we're doing tonight. We're looking at self. We're not caring about nobody else tonight, y'all. We tapping in to self. So welcome to the evaluation of self. Today, it's not about proving that you're good enough. It's about becoming honest enough to understand yourself. We spend a lot of time evaluating situations, jobs, relationships, and other people. But the question is, when was the last time you sat down and evaluated the person making all those decisions, which is you? Today, we're turning the mirror inward, y'all. We're tapping in, y'all. We're going to do this once a week on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. We're going to have class for this type stuff, right? This is going to be a 6-week situation, right? So in 6 weeks, with your participation with yourself, right, you will then become something better than you were today. I don't guarantee it. Why? Because you got to do the work. You understand? You understand? All right. So, what experiences have shaped Rocky? Okay. So, at the age of, I'm going to say 3rd grade, right? Rocky went through a family situation to where one parent went left, one parent went right. Understand? And Rocky understood in that moment, things changed. Right? I didn't know what it was. I didn't know, I knew what it was. I just didn't understand fully, right? In that moment, right? The cause and effect of someone else's decision. All right? Are you with me? What experiences have shaped me? I took you back to 3rd grade. I'm 40 years old. That's quite some time ago, right? That I'm speaking to. That moment shaped me. You understand? How did that moment shape me? Because, y'all, there was a time where Mr. Dunn was married, right? And then Mr. Dunn was divorced. And then there was a time where Mr. Dunn was engaged, and then there was a time where he's not. You understand? And from that he's not moment is when he really dug in deeper to understand what was he causing, right, for the disconnect. Because he had seen it again since when, y'all? The 3rd grade. And everybody, right, has some type of event they can point to, just as I did, right, to form some type of boundary, foundation, right, of who you are, right? And for order you to change who you are, you have to understand who you are, right? What has shaped you up until this moment, right? Who has shaped you up until this moment, right? Because people that we meet, people that we see in passing and so on and so forth, right? They have some type of effect on us, right? Why? Because if you're choosing to be positive, then you have to bump into some negativity. Why? So you can understand who you are and who you choose to be. Now, can I bump into negative energy and now become negative energy too? Absolutely, right? If I choose to, right? Before this moment, I didn't stop myself to even figure out, right? That, man, if I don't choose to say anything back, if I don't choose to argue, if I don't choose to fight, right? It's not going to happen, right? I was always the one that wanted to do something, right? I had to prove a point, right? I had to make a fact, right? I wasn't using my wisdom. What up, what up, what up? Tap in. I wasn't using my wisdom, right? Because I wasn't living what I knew. You understand? I wasn't tapped in enough to myself to understand what self must be doing, what self should be doing, right? To become I am, right? So who is I am? We'll get there. We'll get there. This is just the first class. I'm just reflecting on me, remember? So what am I proud of? I am a proud father and leader of the people because I choose to present the right information every time. I choose to present the energy I need to present every time. Why? Because I remember a time in my life when I didn't choose to be the right me. So what hurt me, y'all? A lot of things have hurt me, right? But I'll tell you something that really hurt me, and I was less than 8. I wasn't in school yet. I was maybe 4 or 5. So imagine Harlow, but maybe a year or two older, right? Okay, I was like around her age, right? And I had heard stories, y'all, for 5 years, right? About family members, right? And so I've been wanting to meet these people, right? So one day we get a phone call, right? I think my mom answers the phone, right? And she wasn't her normal self, right? I could see that something was a little off with her energy, right? So I'm observing. And then she hands the phone to my father, right? He then gets the phone. He hears what whoever has on the other end said to my mom, said the same thing to him, apparently, right? Because he then had the same look on his face that she had on hers. So what am I? I'm like, I want to know what's got y'all, right? Oh, we'll tell you in a little while, right? So eventually, right, I got told about the phone call, right? One of my family members had passed away, right? And it was my dad's brother, okay? So I never got to meet the fella, right? Himself, right? And so that kind of, hurt me a little bit, y'all, Because I was just excited, right, to see a member of my family, right? That I had never seen before. So again, y'all, I'm digging deep to show y'all what must be done. You have to look back within yourself to say, what has hurt me? And since that moment, I'm speaking on, I'm 5 years old, I can ramble off at least a million other things that's hurt me up until today. What did I learn? What have I learned? I've learned that everything that I've done, I've done. I'm not ashamed. I'm not afraid to deal with whatever, it's not a consequence. I've already dealt with it. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm looking back, reflecting, understanding, right? That go left or you go right. It's up to you. What do I need to release? I needed to release a lot of trauma from my past. I had to release all the trauma from my past. I had to relive every moment up until today because I reflect daily to understand where I am, who I am, and where I'm going. You understand? This is what we do. This is what I do. This is what I choose to do. And I hope that you choose to do this as well. Understand? Number 3, y'all, alignment. You feel me? What do I say I value? Number 1 was awareness, right? Number 2 was reflection. Now we're moving on to number 3, right? Alignment. Compare the life you live with the person you say you are. Okay? Alignment. Compare the life you live with the person you say you are. Okay? And so underneath that, what do I say I value? Right? It's not what I say you think, right? And not what I think you value. Like, what do you, right? What do I say I value, right? Write that down for yourself. Does my calendar reflect those values? Where am I out of alignment yet, y'all? What boundary or decision is overdue, right? And what would integrity, look like here? Yes, do my calendar reflect those values? Absolutely. Where am I out of alignment? You got to look within yourself and see where you not straight up and down with yourself. Where you know you curveballing yourself. You got to be honest with yourself. It's easy to get lost, y'all. I've been lost. You understand? It's easy. It's easy being breezy, y'all. For real. You ain't got to do no work. All you got to do is get up, walk around. Welcome in, welcome in. Compare the life you live with the person you say you are, y'all. Alignment, right? We're getting this thing set up, right? So I'm going to give you my alignment, right? What do I say I value? What do I say I value? I say I value family. I feel like I value respect. I value honor and courage, determination, discipline. I value loyalty. I value all of these things, right? So does my calendar reflect those values? There was a time when my calendar didn't reflect a lot of values that I had, right? And the reason is I chose not to, right? Because I was choosing to fit in with something to be something that I know I wasn't. You understand? So by my calendar not reflecting my values, life was very difficult, right? Which it seemed, right? All it was me choosing to be who I was choosing to be. So I had to ask myself, y'all, where am I out of alignment? Where? I had to search, y'all, look around. I had to pat myself down like, man, look, you eating good, right? You working out, right? You focusing on yourself, you loving yourself, right? You going, I do pedicures and man, all that stuff too, right? I go in there, sit down, let people work on me too. You know why? Because that's a version of self-love, right? Right. It's because I'm balanced with myself. I understand I have a mom and a dad, which means I have both feminine energy and masculine energy, right? And so by me understanding that about myself, right, I understand that everybody else that walked this world is just like me, right? Y'all ain't heard me, right? So what boundaries or decisions is overdue? With me, I feel like my boundaries that were overdue was I was giving myself my energy to other energies that didn't really understand who I truly am. And so when I put up the boundaries of not answering phone calls or not answering text messages, right? I understood by me choosing to do that in those moments that they were going to perceive it however they chose to perceive it, right? And I also understood where my intent was with what I was choosing to do, right? I was setting a boundary, right? I was making the decision, right? Because it was long overdue. You understand? Right? Because what would integrity look like, right? If I didn't set up some type of boundary, right? If I didn't make a decision to say, you know what, enough is enough. And if you were choosing to do this solely because I chose to do this, right? That just shows me, right? What type of character, right? Integrity you have, right? Because since I must call it today, this moment, I'm choosing, right, to become who I need to become, right, for y'all. Because I know that if I'm not strong enough, right, I know y'all ain't strong enough either, right? Because I understand this is a team game, y'all. Team game, y'all. Stage 4 of this, right? It's gonna be growth. Right? It's gonna be a 6-week journey. So these questions are gonna come up again, y'all. Yes, honey. Okay. These questions are gonna come up again, right? Next week we're gonna be on what, y'all? What y'all think we're gonna be on next week, y'all? We're gonna be on awareness, right? We're gonna spend a whole hour just solely on awareness. Tonight I'm running you through the course, right? On what to expect if you choose to be, right? Either way, I'm still doing it, right? I'm doing it for me, right? Because this is making me more aware to reflect, to get aligned for what? For growth. That's our next thing, y'all. Growth, right? Number 4 on the list is growth. Stop asking only what's wrong and ask what's next. You understand? We all can point out something wrong right now, right? I can look right now in the kitchen and I say I got some dishes in the sink, right? And it's past a certain time. That's wrong, right? You feel me? At the same time, right? What's next? You feel me? This is what I'm doing, right? I'm teaching. Why? Because this right now, this is a little more important than that. You understand? You have to be able to set boundaries, right? And make decisions, right? That are long overdue. Okay?
Stop looking at me.
So what not right now, what beliefs are limiting you? Okay? Write that down for me. What beliefs are limiting
No,
you?
no,
What beliefs are limiting you?
no.
Write that down for me.
No.
What habit is costing me? I got a good one for this one, y'all. I just spoke on this yesterday, right? I'm gonna get to y'all the real, for real, to show y'all. I ain't got nothing to hide. What skill do I need? You understand? What discomfort must I tolerate to grow? I'm gonna run through them again. What is one change I can practice this week? So again, number 4 is growth, right? Stop asking what's wrong, right? Start asking yourself what's next, right? What's next? Right? Make it fun, make it funny, right? Right? So what belief is limiting you, right? What belief? What habit is costing me, right? What habit is costing you, right? What skill do I need, right? Be honest with yourself. What skill do you need, right? And if you don't know, you don't know, right? It was a time when I didn't know, right? Now I know, right? What discomfort must I tolerate to grow? What is one change I can practice this week? So now I'm going to answer the question. What belief is limiting me? I feel like the belief in a family in which most would say is normal, right? That's not what's on the agenda, right? So I feel like that's limiting me, right? Because I'm choosing, right, to be who I need to be, right? And so I also understand that others may not always understand what they're looking at, right? And even if they do, they still have to choose whatever they choose.
Daddy.
So that's what it is. right? The belief of family is limiting me because I'm choosing to be, right, somewhere, right, because of what I said, family, right? And whatever that is, right? What habit is costing me? Oh, here we go, right? The habit that's costing me, y'all, is menthol cigarettes, right? I need to do away with and move on, right? What skill do I need? What skill did I need? I answer it like that. The skill that I needed to have was patience, y'all. I had to be patient with myself to be able to be patient with others. And had I not learned that, y'all, you know, a lot of time when toddlers act out or whatever, you know, you can choose to yell back at them or, you know, use your tone to attempt to scare them or whatever, or, you know, whatever method, right? Whatever you choose to do, right? There's many different things, right? And so just understand that in those moments when you're choosing to act outside of yourself, right? Because you wouldn't want nobody talking to you like that, right? But since you feel like I created it, right? It's my child, right? I can talk to it any kind of way. And not understanding that any kind of way gonna come back to bite you. Why? Because now they've learned, right, from you, right? They were aware, right, of what they was looking at. And they just put it in a bag of, this is what I'm gonna do. And so all of us has a lot of that in our bag still today. It's a lot of stuff that you're holding on to and you're not allowing yourself to grow. The only way your rose bush gonna grow outside is you gotta go out there and cut on it, y'all. You gotta go do something to it, right? On top of watering it, right? And fertilizing all that good stuff, supplementing, right? Giving it stuff that it needs, right? To live, to bloom, right? To bear fruit, right? To grow. You understand? So when I look at the rose bush, I don't say what's wrong. I say what's next. I say, okay, I need to put this thing over here, right? Take it out of the sun. You don't like the sun like that, right? Give it a little more water in the evening or give it more water in the daytime, in the morning, AM time, right? You know, early, right? You understand? And I had to be able to, right, do a different habit, right? Because if not, it's going to cost me my rose bush, y'all. It wasn't going to grow. I noticed that within nature to notice it within myself. We've all had a plant or something we've had and we've let it go on the other side of Plantville. You understand? Because we wasn't aware enough, right, to align ourselves with the plant, right, for it to be able to grow, right? We never looked at the plant. We never reflected on the plant as ourselves or as a living thing until it wasn't here any longer, right? And now that it's not here, now we want to stay in reflection, right? Oh man, that time, that day, I should have said this instead of going there. I should have went and hung out with them, right? Yeah, you can have those moments, but if you stay there, you're gonna be stuck in a loop, right? You gotta release. You see what I'm saying? What discomfort must I tolerate to grow? Are you going to tolerate that discomfort every day? Or do you want to grow? Right? What is one change I can practice this week? So the change I'm practicing this week, y'all, is practicing understanding what people are really doing and not attempting to create something that I want them to be doing. Because you guys see the energy I'm on. This is who I am, right? I am Mr. Tap In, Tap In, Tap In. I'm all about being aware, reflecting on yourself, right? Getting aligned with yourself, right? And then growing yourself to a greater self, right? And then by you doing that, number 5 is connection, right? Your inner relationship becomes your outer relationship. I'll say that again. Your inner relationship becomes your outer relationship. Why? Because now you've allowed yourself to grow, right? So now you connected with self a little bit more, understanding what self must done went through, right? Has went through to have this understanding of, okay, this is what I need to do. Let me focus a little bit more within, right? And I'm seeing the benefits of that because I just feel free. I just feel like there's nothing that can bother me, right? I'm just in a space, y'all, and I want you guys to enjoy that as well. You understand? And it's all about controlling yourself, controlling your mind, right? Controlling your thoughts, right? Getting that connection with yourself, right? So the first drop down is going to be, how do I talk to myself? Okay. I know a lot of people, you guys are going to write that down. You can. Again, how do I talk to myself, right? How does that affect how I treat others? Do I listen to understand or to respond? Okay. Where do I need boundaries? What do I need to communicate clearly?
Daddy.
So how do I talk to myself, y'all? There was a time where I used to blame myself for others' decisions. And I would keep myself in such a depressed state, y'all, where I wouldn't eat, I wouldn't go hang out with them, I wouldn't be social, I wouldn't do a lot of things, right? And I would talk bad to myself, y'all. Man, you crazy for allowing that to happen. You know that, and understanding that, like, bro, you didn't even choose that. Somebody else chose that. You just being told what they chose to do. So how can you not feel responsible for something they chose? Right? That hurt me though, y'all. There was a lot of time, y'all, where I let that rule run my life. Me, right? And the things I chose to do. For real, for real. No BS. I allowed myself to be controlled by someone else's decisions, someone else's choices. And I would then react or whatever. And that and in the moment of the reaction, I would understand, what I needed to do in that moment to react the proper way. And I also understood that if I chose this way, how things may go, right? I knew all that before before I made the decision to do it, right? It's just in that moment I decided what I would decided, right? Just that we all have, right? We've all decided on some stuff, right, without thinking, right? We've all had those moments, right? So all I'm asking you to do, right, is to stop, right? Take a pause, hammer time, whatever you got to do, right? And think, is this what I'm supposed to be doing here, right? And if you can answer yourself truthfully that you're doing the right thing, then, you know,
Daddy, that's hard.
I know I told you got to cool off a little bit. You got to be patient. That's what I just said. That's something I've learned. I'm attempting to teach you. You got to be patient. You got to wait. Peppa Pig, y'all. I'm gonna put her on for a minute. See if she give me about 10 minutes to get this through, y'all. Connection, right? Number 5. So how do I talk to myself? Told you guys, right? I used to talk bad on myself, right? Now I talk to myself like this right here, y'all. Okay. I need to have this conversation with this energy. I understand this energy may or may not want to hear what I have to present, right? At the same time, my intent has been, never will be to hurt or to harm. My intent always has been, always will be is to help. And if it's not perceived as such, generally in the moment, I understand that. And so I attempt to either A, correct it, right? Or understand that something must be corrected within the person that received it. They received the message, they understand the message, now they must do the work, right? It's all kind of signs, right? Right? Which leads to, right? Do I listen to understand or to respond? There was a time in my life where I listened to respond. I just wanted to hear what you had to say because I was finna come back with some fire, right? You said what, right? What is five? Five is connection. Connection. Your inner relationship becomes your outer relationship, right? Right? How do you talk to yourself, right? How does that affect how I treat others, right? Do I listen to understand or to respond, right? Right? So it's time where I listen to respond, right? Okay, you said you was where? Okay. Now look, you probably don't have whatever, you just know, right? So you waiting for right? Right? To respond. So right? Oh, right? And then you come back with whatever you come back with, right? Oh, I knew or I don't know, right? Right. Instead of listening to understand, okay? I was over here. Oh, okay. Right on. And we was over here doing this, that, and the third. Right? Oh, okay, right. Or, I was over here, right? Okay. What y'all do over there, right? Oh, nothing. Just hang out, chill. Okay, right on. That's cool. Right? We've all had these type of conversations, right? Am I right? Right? Where it's either been information given freely and or you had to dig, right? And times when you were listening to respond instead of understanding, right? Understanding, okay, why did they do this or why did they say that, right? Okay, because they deal with this. Okay. So since they deal with this, it may be something that they learned, observed, whatever, right? You see what I'm saying? They've never set boundaries, right? They never knew they needed to set boundaries, right, within certain people that they hang around, or because they don't understand that now you've become them, right? In theory, whatever they do, you doing, right? That's why we heard the term before: birds of a feather, right, flock together, right? You have to understand how to set boundaries, y'all, and you also have to understand what do I need to communicate clearly, right? So there was a time where I understood how or what to say, right? And just depending on what energy I was in, if I was mad or pissed off or whatever, right? Then um, I would then choose which words to communicate with, right? Right? I didn't have patience for myself, right? I just wanted to right now, right? And that leads to number 6, impact and legacy, right? Turning self-awareness into contribution, right? So by me being connected to myself enough, now I have the impact and I am leaving a legacy, right? Right? I know that this moment lives forever based upon what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, right? And where I'm doing it, right? I don't need, right? I just know, right? So what do I want my presence to create, right? Who benefits when I become healthier and clearer? What problem am I equipped to help solve? How do I want to be remembered? What action makes the legacy real? Okay. Again, number 6, impact and legacy. Turn self-awareness into contribution. What do I want my presence to create? So for me, I wanted my presence to create a fun environment. I wanted my presence to create a memorable moment. I wanted my presence to create, if you wasn't there, if someone told you about it, it wouldn't be the same because you just understood who I am, right? That's what I chose to create for a very, very, very long time, right? And now, I back it up. I back it up. We're going to go back to number 6, impact and legacy, y'all. Turning self-awareness into contribution, right? What do I want my presence to create, right? Who benefits when I become healthier and clearer, right? What problem am I equipped to solve? How do I want to be remembered? What action makes the legacy real? Okay. So by turning your self-awareness into contribution, right? By me doing that, I am now opening myself up to the world in these moments. So every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be teaching how to tap into yourself. And I'm also teaching myself while I'm teaching you about yourself. So we're all learning the same thing, right? More about ourselves, right? So here's a few questions to keep, right? What did you notice about yourself? Okay. Who do you think that pattern keeps? No. What did you notice about yourself? Right? What do you think that pattern keeps teaching you or showing you? Right? Why does it keep repeating? How do I want to be remembered? Is what action makes the legacy real? So if you understanding the impacts you're supposed to have, right, and the legacy that you want to live, right, what action makes that legacy real, right? And don't beat yourself up about it, right? Just be honest with yourself, right? So what did you notice about yourself tonight, right? Why do you think that pattern keeps repeating? What would change if you stopped blaming yourself and started taking responsibility? Is that belief actually yours, or did you inherit it? What does your behavior say your priorities are? What is one thing you know you need to change but keep postponing? What would alignment look like in real life, not just in your head? I'm going to go through them again. What did you notice about yourself? Why do you think that pattern keeps repeating? What would change if you stopped blaming yourself and started taking responsibility? Is that belief actually yours? Or did you inherit it? Inherit it. What does your behavior say your priorities are? It's not. And what does your behavior say about your priorities? What does your behavior say your priorities are? What is one thing you know you need to change but keep postponing? And what would alignment look like in real life? So we're going to leave it there, y'all. We're going to leave it there, y'all. We got some homework, right? Because next week we're going to talk about it, right? If you choose, right? Huh? Again, the evaluation does not end when this live ends. It begins there. You now have a choice. Return to the same patterns with new information, or use what you've discovered to make different decisions. You don't have to change your entire life tonight. You need one honest decision followed by one intentional action. Evaluate yourself, realign yourself, elevate yourself. For the next 7 days, spend 5 minutes answering, what did I feel? What did I learn? What triggered me? What did I handle well? Where was I out of alignment? What will I do differently tomorrow? Again, we got some work to do, y'all. We got to tap in a little more ourselves. Again, I'm only asking for 5 minutes, y'all. 5 minutes, y'all. Ask yourself, what did I feel? This is every day. What did I learn today? What triggered me today? Right? Right? What did I handle well today? Right? Where was I out of alignment today? Let me handle just a second. What will I do differently tomorrow? Tap in, tap in, tap in.